my second birthday.
Note, this story is 100% true and has been verified by my immediate family. It was my second birthday, and my mom and my grandmother had taken me to our local mall to get my pictures taken at the children's photo store in Charleston, West Virginia. My grandmother lives in a small town about 50 miles away and doesn't come down that often, so my mom thought it would be a good idea that she have some photos to commemorate the occasion. They bring me into the store and consult with the clerk about getting my pictures. My mom had to leave for work and left me with my grandmother and the cameraman. The man proceeds to give my grandmother directions on where to place me and how to get me to look at the camera. He takes dozens and dozens of photos, eventually amounting to around $400. After about a half hour of taking the photos, the man informs my grandmother that I'm to go into the back of the store in a different room with him. He doesn't tell her why he wants to, but his hidden intentions were apparent to her. She tells the man that I'm not to leave her sight and that the session is over. She grabs me by the hand, quickly pays the man, calls my mom, and explains the situation. I get unnerved every time I think about this. This obviously was planned out, and it sickens me to think that he'd probably done this to multiple other babies, and more than likely succeeded. Parents, please be cautious of who you leave your children with. And cameraman, if you're reading this, let's not meet.
I could have been a headline.
When I was in my late teens, my mother and I were really poor. We didn't have some not so modern conveniences like air conditioning or a home phone. Cell phones at the time were just gaining popularity in my area. Now, there was a payphone about a half a mile away, down a somewhat busy country highway. I would regularly pick up cans on that highway to make money to obsessively use that payphone. I was a teenager. Talking to boys and my friends was the most important thing in my life. One Saturday, I was waiting for my awesome friend to come pick me up, and as such, I ran down to the phone to call her over and over until she showed up. There were two payphones side by side. These two really cute guys pull up in a really fancy Eddie Bauer model SUV. Funny the details you remember, right? And fiddle with the phone. Then very obviously pull out a cell phone and make a quick call. You could stay on the phone for about 15 minutes for $1. My call ended and my friend said she'd call me back. The guys were still there. They started to tell me that they were going to the lake and that a few folks were going out there. They asked me if I wanted to join them. I told them no and explained that I was waiting for a friend. Then they asked me if I smoked. I said something cute, I'm sure. Then they asked me if I'd come with them for $20. I declined. Then $50. Every time I said no, the amount went up until it was at $500. At this point, I was really creeped out, but trying to stall so my friend would call me back. I didn't want to walk home, but after a few minutes, I didn't want to be there anymore. I started to turn to walk home and they get in the car. They follow me the whole way to my house, begging me to come party with them. I ran across the highway and up my driveway and hoped they wouldn't follow me. They didn't. A week or so later, there was a story about a girl my age that was assaulted by two assailants in my area. While there was no confirmation that it was the same two guys, my town wasn't particularly large, and I had my suspicions.
He tried to lure me into the bathroom.
This just happened to me a few nights ago, and I am still shaken up, so bear with me. I am a female bartender at a small cafe that doubles as a venue. During the day, we serve coffee and lunch, and at night, we have a full bar with bands, comedy shows, etc. On this night, there was an open mic comedy show. Not a lot of comedians showed up, so we ended up closing up shop early, and I was ready to go home. I had a patron come in and order a single beer during the comedy show. He was acting nervous, but being a female bartender, I get male customers that are shy or don't want to talk to women, so I didn't think much about it. He sat down, sipped his beer, and watched the show. Since we closed early, everyone was pretty much gone, and I wanted to lock up and clean so I could get home. After I escorted the last couple out of the bar and got ready to lock the door, I see the man from earlier walk down the back hallway and into the men's restroom. Not even a minute later, he burst through the door yelling, "Hurry, come back here, I need help." I stood at the opposite end of the hallway and asked him what was wrong. "The toilet is overflowing. There's water all over the floor. Help me clean this up." I could tell that something was wrong, and I replied, "It's okay, man, it happens. I'll mop it up. I'm just trying to close up right now." He continued to argue with me, trying to get me to come into the bathroom with him as I stood about 20 feet down the hallway. Finally, he walks towards me very aggressively and tries to grab my arm. "You need to come back here now," he says. I immediately put my hands out in front of me so he cannot come any closer, and I tell him he has to leave. He walks outside and I lock the door behind him. I check the bathroom and it is completely spotless. No water on the floor at all. I flush the toilet and the urinal and they are both working fine. I start to get nervous and I take my large pocket knife and clip it to the waistband of my pants, just in case. As I'm cleaning our espresso machine and putting toppers on the liquor bottles, I hear a tapping noise. I look up at the front of the store, which is one big window that has a few curtains covering it. The same man is tapping on the window, waving at me and laughing like a maniac. I watch him walk over to the door and pull on it. It doesn't open since I had locked it after he left. He starts screaming and pounding on the glass, saying, "Open the fucking door. I'm going to kill you." Fight overcame flight at this point, and I walked around the counter about 6 feet from the door. I pulled out my knife and locked eyes with him and yelled, "I'm calling the cops. Get the fuck out of here." He smiled and walked out of view of the window. At this point, all of my adrenaline just crashed. I locked myself in the office and called 911 crying, explaining that I'm alone and a man tried to lure me into the bathroom and was outside trying to get into my bar. I waited an hour and a half. No police showed up. I called my boyfriend and he drove up to the shop. My manager watched the security cameras from home, making sure the man didn't come back. I did the deposit and immediately drove home, my boyfriend following close behind me. My male busboy has been coming into work with me, so I'm not alone. And the managers have been keeping an eye on the security cameras while I'm working. So, crazy dude who tried to lure me into the bathroom to do God knows what to me. Let's not meet.